drawing a blank on gaming things to do, so I figured I could branch out a little bit and talk more about, well, whether or not I'm actually goth. See, the fashion style I wear, music I listen to, is all part of a Japanese subculture called Visual Kei, which, while it has its origins in goth culture as, well, the first few bands to ever be this genre, before it even had a name, had a very strong influence from certain glam rock and punk music bands well known to the goth scene, like The Cure and Siouxsie Sioux. Even Bauhaus has a lot of influence. Even the fashion scene, the music, well, the music varies. It can be anything from a pop sound all the way to symphonic doom metal. It can be any combination of styles. It can start off as one thing and turn into something completely different. The only real staple of the Visual Kei scene is that these stage outfits are extremely elaborate. Exhibit A. I am dressed in something akin to what a Visual Kei band might wear. In this instance, it's a bit more akin to a band, which I will have an image pop up of right soon, hopefully. As, well, I'll just go on to say, it's going to be the Gazette, as they were the first Visual Kei band I ever knew more than one song by. First one I ever heard being Diora. It's in this. It's coming. It's coming. I think. Where did I... Ah! I have a whole folder. I just need to get to where it is. I spy a rookie. I think that's the right one then. Yep. Let me move it where I want it. Go over my hand. Thank you. I am holding the Gazette in my hand. Visual style is similar to the Gazette, or, alternatively, another very similar band that I also very much like and have started listening to more recently. However, I think I like their sound a little bit more, would be... Let me make sure I grab the correct one. That's Exist Trace. I believe it's this one. Nope, that's the Gazette again. Look at Rita with hair that isn't blonde. He's always blonde. In most of the music videos, pretty much always, he's always been blonde. Now, where is it? Well, anyway, the other band with a similar style. I think this might be it. Yes, I believe that, yeah. That is Despair's Ray. Slightly... I think that might be slightly less well-known than the Gazette. Outside of the Visual Kei subculture. However, not all Visual Kei fashion is quite so, old 80s punk-like. Insert image of Siouxsie Sioux here. You can see the resemblance, right? That it definitely came as a derivative of old 80s punk and goth music. But even one of the first ever bands, Malice Miser, for instance. Oh, I got an image of them with Gact. And yes, that is Gact. But look, they have color, everyone's hair is a different color, the style is largely Baroque, Victorian, old-fashioned. Feels weird seeing, well, when this was what Gact normally looks like, after Malice Miser ended. Little strange seeing him the way he used to look. There are other bands, though, besides just Malice Miser, that have been known to wear a lot of color and a lot of more Victorian-looking outfits. For instance, if I can find the picture of Versailles. Currently, they are one of my favorite bands. This is Versailles. 2 of the members are wearing white. 1 has red. Not everyone is all in the same color. And look how fancy they look. With that fancy dress, and everyone's hair is different and weird, and a lot of blonde. Like I said, a lot of Visual Kei stars went blonde rather recently, too. Not necessarily all of them, but a lot of them. Just for fun, let's have another picture of Gact. Who can say no to Gact with an angel wing? This was also, I believe, from his Malice Miser days. It's pretty interesting, right? I'm used to seeing him with a lot less heavy makeup. I'm used to seeing Gact with a lot more color. Like when he had bright red cornrows. But the fashion can also go, moving on from Gact, back to someone else who left Malice Miser and went off to do their own thing. Mona from Moid the Moi. Very Lolita looking, but still more edgy, with the spiky hair, the darker makeup than you would ever see on Lolita. The whole style itself. It's definitely very similar, wouldn't you agree? Hell, some parts of the movement even consider people who listen to Visual Kei and dress in the street fashion, roku, that's derived from it, as being J-goth, short for Japanese goth. Now, granted, I'm not Japanese and I don't live in Japan, so what sort of label do I take on? That's where this gets tricky. Just for fun, I'm gonna add in a picture of Ms. Gibre. Because I wanted to. So, the point is, the music sound is there. It has its elements that have been taken from music scenes within the goth culture. The fashion is there. Definitely heavily inspired each other. Punk Rave is a band that is used by both subcategories of alternative. Hell, Punk Rave, I believe, is supposed to be a Visual Kei band. It's just that since most Visual Kei fashion and goth fashion line up, there's not really much point differentiating. I might not listen to Batcave music. I might not listen exclusively to Siouxsie Sioux. I do like a couple Siouxsie and the Banshee songs. I do like a couple of Cure songs. However, I just happen to have a thing for a more clear-cut sound. More modern, more... I won't say edgier, because there's a lot of the same... Certain bands like Exist Trace have the same monotone, the same weird vamping that you would get, for instance, from a song by this guy. If you don't know, this is Robert Smith from The Cure. Looks like a serial killer. But still a very good musician. Has a very nice voice. Very good band. So, knowing in mind that while I do not listen exclusively to post-punk, while I do not avidly listen to it, I still do have an understanding of the culture, of the bands themselves, and everything behind it. Would it then be alright to consider myself goth? I wear mostly black. I know what the movement came from. I know what started it. I have an appreciation for all the dark and creepy things in the world. Horror movies. Hell, I have a book back there. Compilation of anything, well, mostly anything ever written by Edgar Allan Poe. So, should I be not considered goth simply because my music taste is a little less in English? The answer is not very simple. See, the thing is, goth as a subculture shouldn't be defined as a label or anything of the sort. Gothic subculture is simply what it is. It started with the music, evolved with the fashion, but it's existed since before then. It was merely what brought a community of people together that would never have gotten together otherwise. Thereby, considering everything I've talked about and how Visual Kei spawned out of the scene, was based around it, I think it would be safe to say that I can still consider myself goth and be more into Visual Kei than actual post-punk music. Same thing for people in a similar boat with, I don't know, say emo subculture. Or, well, I wouldn't say scene necessarily. Kinda hard with that one. But if you really, really want to consider yourself goth, if you like the creepier things in the world, there are goth people out there that wear metal band t-shirts. It's not all about the music. Some of my favorite YouTubers have said, it's more about the love for spooky and creepy things. It's more about the edgier, darker sides of human nature and romanticizing them, because it's better not to always look at things as gloomy, even when they are. It's better to get over them before, well, before they happen to, I don't know, say, cause an existential crisis. There's also the Jungian psychology side or aspect of this, where if you look at it, all it really is a way to feed your shadow before it gets too hungry. If you don't know what I mean by that, Carl Jung's idea of the shadow is a small part of your subconscious that's more primal and darker than everything else, and if you don't pay attention to it every once in a while, it will go crazy and cause you to have a mental breakdown. At least from what I read and remember. But it's from what I remember, so I don't know how accurate it is. I do tend to have pretty good memory sometimes. Sometimes. All I'm saying is, consider yourself whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Labels don't matter. In the end, just be yourself. That's all Visual Kei is about. That's all Alternative is about. Like the things you like. You don't have to only like the things within the subculture itself. You can be goth and like really cutesy shoujo anime. No one is going to judge you unless they're an elitist. And nobody likes them, so. At least not from what I've seen on the YouTube goth community yet. Because I watch a lot of them. A lot of them. Okay, till next time. Kihi.